are you using load balancer? They will say yes. So then we will know that, okay, in the load balancing part, there will be definitely the logs that we are looking for. So let's say in the load balancing part, so let me just draw that from figure. So if you don't know about that, you will not be knowing like, okay, what kind of logs you will be kind of getting. So let's say this is an attacker, okay, and this is, let's say, a WhatsApp server, okay. So let's say the attacker is kind of providing, accessing the WhatsApp data server and fetching certain files from there, okay. So in most of the cases, what will happen, that there will be logs in the WhatsApp server saying that a person from a specific IP address visited the WhatsApp server at this particular time, and this is what the content was asked, and this is what, and was the content served or not, okay. So those all information will be in the log file, okay. Now let's suppose the architecture of WhatsApp is something like that, okay. So let's say there's an attacker, there is a WhatsApp server, okay, and then in middle of that there is a load balancer, okay. So what will happen is that the attacker will reach out to the load balancer, not directly to the WhatsApp, okay. So the DNS record a IP address, the a record IP address will point actually to the load balancer IP address, okay. Now, so that's why the attacker will reach out to the load balancer. The load balancer will then internally forward your traffic to the WhatsApp, okay. And maybe let's say the WhatsApp is not just on one server, let's say there are multiple other servers of WhatsApp. So the load balancer will do the load balancing, and it either it will serve the forward your request to the this web server, or maybe it will forward your request to this web server, okay. And it will then fetch the data and it will forward that to you. So in that case, what will happen is that the WhatsApp, the logs that will be in the WhatsApp server will be that someone from the load balancer IP came in at a particular time, and they requested for a particular web content, okay. So the IP address of the person, of the client, will be the IP address of the load balancer, okay, not of the attacker, okay. And that will happen for all the servers over here. So if you are kind of handling any kind of an incident, okay, and let's say you don't know about the load balancer part, okay, so what will happen is that the log file that you will see is that you won't see any attacker IP address. You will think that, okay, everything is fine. There is no bad stuff happening. There is no malicious IP in the logs file. Everything is good. It's just one client that is visiting all the components. So that is where the assumption will be wrong. Okay. Now, if we know about the system design, we know that, okay, there's always a load balancer in action for massive softwares. So thing is that we know that, okay, since it is load balancer, and we know that the load balancer forwards the traffic on the attacker behalf. So what we will do now is that we will try to see that are there log files for the load balancer. And in that log file, what we will see is that we will see the actual attacker IP address, and what the actual time the attacker came in, and what is the file that the person was looking for, or what kind of data did that attacker accessed or it sent to our web servers, okay. So this all information we will be having in the load balancer part and not in the WhatsApp web server. But there are few catches. There is actually a header that load balancer, if configured, uses. The header is actually called, I think it is called as X forwarded for. Any questions? Yeah, guys. Any questions? Yes. Okay. Can you just repeat that? I think there's some noise. I'm not able to catch that question. Or maybe you can type that. Whatever seems fine. Okay. I think I'm not saying that person request right now. So maybe ask Dinesh to kind of again raise the same request for joining. I don't see him over here, and I also don't see the pop-up getting raised over here. So maybe once again he joined, I'll just accept the request. And oh yeah, someone wants to join the call. Denise, view. Denise. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for letting me know. And now let's continue our discussion. So I think the person has joined. Let me just quickly. Yeah. Okay. I don't see him right now again. But yeah, if the request comes again, I will just add him. Okay. Has he joined? Let's see. Okay. Anyways, thing is that just let me know again if that request comes up. I will now go back to the discussion. So let me just go back. Okay. So what I was telling about is that there's one specific header called as x-forwarded4. So what happened is that if that has been configured, so what will happen is that the load balancer, so this log file that is WhatsApp has, which has just the IP address of the load balancer. Now there will be another header where it will have the client IP address, the actual client IP address. Okay, if this header has been kind of set up. Okay, so that's how the log file looks like. Like that's how where the log files are kind of stored. So that's the reason why I'm telling is that use this as an exercise. Is that maybe I can also kind of plan one system design class, and where I will kind of go through, let's say, one of the system design, maybe of the YouTube or WhatsApp. So thing is that now if we know like what are the components over here, so we know that okay, they're load balancing, so that's where the logs will kind of come up. We also know that now there's a CDN in play, like content delivery network. So what will happen is that, so now what will happen is, we know that okay, there's a CDN also in play. So CDN also has a different kind of log file. Okay, it will have the IP addresses, the time, and what data was kind of asked from the CDN and what data was served by the CDN. So all those logs will be there in the CDN part. So let's say you are handling an incident for a major client which has a major software that has been kind of, let's say, was compromised or something like that, or is down by an attack. So what you can do is that now we know that okay, we don't need to just rely on the WhatsApp server to kind of fetch the logs. We also need to look at certain other avenues like load balancer. We also need to look at the CDN part and kind of fetch the log files from there. Okay, for our whatever things we need. Okay, similarly for the proxy, we know that okay, there will be log files and all. Okay, and the databases. So databases will also have the log file. Like what are the current components of the data, what is the classification of the data. For an example, let's say for an example, WhatsApp was compromised, you are dealing with that incident. So now you know that obviously there are like databases in action, and there will be like multiple kind of databases like SQL and NoSQL. SQL is like little bit kind of more security oriented. NoSQL has less security oriented architecture. Okay, so you know all those things. And so the thing is that now you'll be kind of knowing that okay, I also need to kind of check out like what is the kind of data that is stored over there, what is the classification. So the classification will be coming as restricted or highly confidential, because there will be a lot of personally identifiable information of the WhatsApp customer in the database. So if the database has been compromised, so we need to kind of know okay, what all things are there. Also the thing is that let's say for an example, there has been certain attack on the database, like SQL injection attack. So we need to know that okay, what kind of databases, what are the databases from where we need to kind of remove that SQL injected data or the script. Okay, from the malicious script from the database itself. Okay, and we also know that since there will be a database replication in action, so even if we have removed the malicious entry, so let's say the attacker was somehow able to add an entry saying that